try to bring you a good news story, a success story, and today we have a great one. It's Ford. Here's a company that did not take a taxpayer bailout. Remember that? They completely turned themselves around after the Great Recession, and now, well, they're thriving. Today, the company announced a new CEO. With more on this and, more importantly, what it means for you, the car coach, Lauren Fix. Hey, Lauren, good to see you. What do you think is next for Ford? They've got a new CEO at the helm. Alan Mullally is stepping down. We'll talk about him more in a minute. But what will consumers see going forward?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of that same positive One Ford plan. Now, you have to remember that when the turnaround of Mazda happened in 2000, when they put Mark Fields in charge, he was only 39 years old.
Wow.
And with some Ford executives, he was able to turn around Mazda. And he's going to use a lot of that same talents that he learned, as well as what he learned from Alan Mullally, to make Ford just as successful, if not even more.
You know, you mentioned Mark Fields. He's the new leader in charge at Ford. Let's hear from him. Here's what he had to say about being named company president.
The first order of business, obviously, is to have a great transition over the next couple of months. But then it's, again, continue to stay relentlessly focused on implementing our One Ford plan and bringing even more great products and innovations with top quality to the marketplace. That is our sole focus, and we're not going to skip a beat.
The old One Ford, but Lauren, what will we see? Will we see more makes and models, more technology in cars? What would you forecast?
Well, you're going to see more technology in vehicles. I think you're going to see more upgrades to vehicles. You've seen what they've done with the Mazda lineup. Their sales were up this month and have had consistent increase in sales, as well as Ford is only down 1% for April sales versus year over year. But I think you're going to see more improvements on the Lincoln lineup. They've got some new small SUVs coming out. You're going to see some of the products that haven't been updated. Of course, we know about the F-Series being an all-aluminum vehicle, and Mark was involved in that. I actually spoke with him at the New York Auto Show, and he's truly passionate about the brand. He owns the cars. I know he's got a Mustang and a bunch of other vehicles, and I think that he's going to continue evolving the brand so it becomes competitive with the Europeans as well as the Koreans and the Japanese.
Well, I think overseas, expansion is critical to the brand, and they're certainly going to be focused on that. You and I, by the way, were at that New York Auto Show, the International Auto Show, had a great time there, and Ford had a very big presence. Do you see them capitalizing on the improvements Mullally was able to lay down? Are they able to take those improvements and go to the next step?
I think they are. I'm sure that 8 years ago when Alan Mullally started seeking a successor, they had a plan in place. Now, he's a very smart man, and I'm sure that he has a whole plan laid out. But sort of like Mark Fields said today during his announcement that we're all like snowflakes. We are all snowflakes, but we all have our nuances that make us special. So he'll put the Mark Fields spin on it. But I think you're going to see a lot of evolution coming up to slow. He's not going to do anything drastic. He's going to keep along that One Ford plan, that message and that plan that Alan Mullally placed out, and put his own spin on it with new products and upgrades. I think it's going to be very good for the brand. I think you're going to see a lot of positive things coming out, and I hope it reflects in their stock prices as well.
You know, I think we have to go back and talk about Mullally just for a second. Now, here's a guy who was not a total, car maniac, right? He's not out of the industry. Right. He came from Boeing. He was able to get their culture, their corporate culture, in order, and at the worst time imaginable. The economy was sinking like a stone. They were having major financial problems, really turned this thing around. You know, what do you say today? What did Mullally do? What was his major insight that allowed him to turn this brand around?
I think the #1 thing he did was to create a transparency between him and his staff. As products evolve and they're getting ready to launch, he needs to know where that product is. He always had a green, yellow, red process. Yes, this is ready to go. Yeah, we have some glitches. Or red, we're really struggling with a problem. And Mark Fields was one of the first people to ever have an all-red chart when they were launching the Edge. And one of the things when you did that in the past, when people would do fear and think, oh boy, this guy's going to lose his job, but in reality, Alan Mullally applauded him, said, thank you for your honesty, let's all work together as a team. So creating that transparency is part of what created the success for Alan Mullally with Ford. And
I'm sure he was pretty darn tough, was used to working with unions, was pretty darn tough with the auto unions, and that didn't hurt either. Lauren, thanks for coming on the show tonight. Great to see you.
Nice to see you too.
We've got more to come in the show, including in this tough economy.